And I'm Daytona Everett here with News Now from Fox. We're going to be speaking about Governor Gavin Newsom, who you saw right there. He picked up a major endorsement from President Joe Biden today when White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki tweeted the administration's opposition to a recall effort. So I want to get a response from the campaign manager of this effort, Ann Dunsmore. Thank you for joining us here on News Now from Fox. Excited for this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
So let's jump right into it. What's your response to her response?
Well, they're bringing the big guns in now. The White House jumping into the game on this recall means that they're taking it seriously, and it's time they take it seriously.
So let's talk about what this recall effort is. For people who don't live in California and haven't been following this news, what does it mean to recall a governor?
Well, it doesn't happen very often. It's happened before, but successfully. We had 2003 with Gray Davis, and I would say that the things that Gray Davis that prompted the recall of Gray Davis pale in comparison to the number of things that people are incredibly unhappy with in California under Gavin Newsom's governorship. We can go through those if you like.
Yeah, I mean, so what's cool about what we do here on News Now from Fox is we can talk as long as we want to, and I know we probably can talk for a while on this. We're talking signatures right now, and it's gaining momentum. I think we said, 1.5 million signatures at this point. So what do you need in order for this to pass through?
Well, you need 1.495 valid signatures, 100% valid signatures. And so the conventional wisdom on these strategies is to go ahead and go for a minimum of 110%, which would be roughly 1.6 million, or 125%, which is 1.8 million. And in this case, we want to go ahead and try for 2 million. We think it's very doable in the required period of time, and I think it sends a big message that this is what it is, which is a citizen movement, not a partisan campaign. Once we submit the signatures in early March, then by June we should see the lieutenant governor selecting a date that should fall into sometime between August and mid-September. And then within a week we have a recall. We have a new governor.
Okay, so this is not going to be met with no opposition on Newsom's side. Are you guys ready for a legal fight with the governor?
I don't know if it'll be a legal fight, but it'll definitely be a major campaign. It's happening in an off-cycle period of time. It'll also be happening during bill signing, and actually we should have a new governor before bills are signed if all goes well.
And I'm curious here, we actually had Kevin Faulconer on the show last night, who is the former San Diego mayor running for governor. He's a Republican candidate, and we asked him about the recall effort and about his thoughts of Governor Newsom, and he said that he backed it. Have you guys been in communication with him and now John Cox, who is also running for the governor's seat?
Well, we do get a lot of inquiries from a lot of campaigns because they understandably want to know if we're going to qualify, if we're on track to our goals. And the answer is yes, we are on track. And yes, we'll take all the support we can get. And they've all been very helpful. And so have some people on the Democrat side who have thought about sticking their toe in it one form or fashion. So and by the way, we just did an analysis of those people that are signing the petitions, and 9.5% of the signatures are Democrats, and 22% are no party preference. And then 2.1% is other. That's a really large number of people signing our petition. When we basically mailed the petition to Republican households, and there are a lot of mixed party blocks, if you will. So you'll have no party preference or Democrats in the same household with a Republican. And so we're kind of surprised, but we also saw the poll that I'm sure you saw that showed that he was a little upside down in his approval ratings and no party preference. So I think he's in trouble. I think the White House sees it. I think he reached out to get their support. And where the candidates that are starting to look at this race and declare their candidacy, remember in 2003 there were 135 people on the ballot, and the eventual winner, Arnold Schwarzenegger, didn't get in until the night before filing closed. So I'm sure we're in for a lot more surprises. I think Mayor Faulkner has absolutely shown his leadership ability in San Diego, and John Cox, of course, was our nominee last time. So it's a good start.
Yeah, and we just want to mention here that we did reach out to the governor's office to get his side of the story as well. We didn't hear back from him, so we're just sharing this side right now. I have a question for you. Have you gone out and gotten signatures yourself?
Yes. I've got my voting age children doing the same. One's in, one's out. That happens. My son-in-law's working hard on it. And we have my whole office is basically turned into a mailroom operation. So we're embedded in it. I got involved in this last year. I was incredibly impressed with the operation the volunteer operation that had been set up. You'll find that it will go down in the record books as the largest volunteer operation, volunteer signature gathering effort. I think by the time all is said and done, the volunteers themselves will have collected 1.2 million. Our effort is a direct mail effort, and we've also gone on the street last week with paid signature gatherers and coming up with great results. They did half a week and got 52,000 signatures. That even surprised them, and they're seasoned signature gathering professionals.
When you're going out and gathering these signatures, what are you hearing from people about Governor Newsom and his dealing with the pandemic here?
Yeah, it's not just the pandemic. I think this goes back to before people really knew that how hard that was going to hit us. I think it was a series of bills, and we've kind of forgotten all the things that he did before the seesaw reaction to COVID, the closures, the sort of lack of reason. But it's my favorite thing to say is that it's real when you go out to the beach and there are surfers with Recall Newsom on their surfboards. I mean, these are not people that normally engage. I'm also overwhelmed by the fact that the number of women that are volunteering is almost 20 to 1. So you've got that, what we all used to go running for in politics was quote unquote the soccer moms. The kids aren't playing soccer, but they're pretty angry. So we've now called them the mad moms, and it's a pretty big demographic. It's a big swing. It's what every candidate on both sides of the aisle appeal to the women's vote. And I think you're going to see that making a huge difference here. They do not trust him. They're angry now, but they're angry with a purpose, and you can really, really tell. I'm a grandmother. I have school-age grandchildren. My daughter is homeschooling. It's really, really difficult to hold a family together under these circumstances and remain positive and productive.
So we're in the middle of an impeachment trial right now, if you don't know, and it's being met with a lot of opposition right now, saying that it's a waste of time and it's detracting from the purpose of moving forward and whatnot. What do you have to say to people who might be saying the same thing about this recall effort in California?
Oh, what? That it's extreme and unnecessary? Yeah. So here's what I have to say about that. One of the things that I think he's going to get into a lot of trouble for, which is really barely broken ice yet, is the $31 billion Employment Development Department misallocation of fund of federal COVID jobless benefits. We all know somebody who is desperately trying to get their unemployment checks, and they're being kicked out of the system, or it's taking hours, days, weeks, and yet you read about first $500 million, then 2 billion, then 8 billion, and now it's $31 billion in employment development, jobless benefits, COVID jobless benefits. I think these are the kinds of things that people are going to be indelibly imprinted on their minds. I say, I do hear, I know what you're talking about. They're saying that, $30 million to wage a special election is a waste of taxpayer funds. I would absolutely fire anybody if I had a company with $150 billion a year budget like California does, and somebody lost or misappropriated 25% of that budget. Somebody would be losing their job. Somebody would be taking responsibility. Somebody would be launching an investigation, and none of those people is Gavin Newsom. So I would say that we are not being reckless. We're taking care of our home turf here. And these are the types of things that are ruining the state. And that's just got to stop.
So say this is successful, which is obviously your aim. What's the game plan from there?
Well, as soon as the election is set, our game plan, we're what is referred to as a primarily formed political action committee. So the only thing we work on is first phase one, getting it qualified, gathering the necessary signatures. And then once it's qualified, we will continue the effort to then have it passed on the ballot in August or September. The candidates will promote themselves. We do not advocate for any particular candidate and cannot. So we're looking forward to continuing our effort to show that this recall is necessary for the future and well-being of the quality of life we hope to get back here in California.
And last question for you on that same point there. Do you think it's possible that California can flip and become red?
Always. And you could see that and I've seen it before. I've been in this business for a long time. There was a point in time not too long ago under Governor Wilson where we had almost every single constitutional office. We even had a Republican Speaker of the Assembly. And we've always had a pretty balanced government here. I think it's not impossible. If you looked at this last November, we took back 25% of all seats that were taken back from the blue side of the aisle to the red side of the aisle. We took back here in California. I don't think that's any small feat. I don't think that happened when nobody was looking. I think they knew exactly what was going on and did their best to make sure that those seats remained Democrat, and we took them back. And if you look at the propositions on the November ballot, all the key issues that divide us into two different parties, or in some cases three, because no party preference is about a third of the vote in California, the more conservative views prevailed. And they having to do with public safety, taxes, all the things that the Democrats are just not protecting. And boy, that is a fine line to tread in California. We love our environment, but you do not take away our safety, and you do not make it financially impossible to live here. And I think he crossed that line.
And I'm sorry, last point here. I just want to circle back to that tweet coming from the White House today. With such clear opposition from the highest power of authority, do you see this actually being possible for you guys with no pushback from the White House, from Newsom's office? I just want to be practical about this at this point in time. She was very clear about that in her press conference and now on Twitter as well.
Sure. I think that what we have already seen is that when you try to be vitriolic and partisan about the issues that are important to California citizens and ignore the real root problem of what's going on here, you really alienate people very quickly, and you make them angry because they then see that you're putting politics over policy. This governor has not showed any ability to plan his responses. It's almost like watching him create his direct mail campaign for 2022, and now he has to push it back a few months to deal with it this fall. $2 billion added, just sort of thrown out as an education solution without even conferring with the teachers or administrators or the people who need the money. These are the types of things that you really have to wonder if he has a plan. I don't think he does. And I think he's having knee-jerk reactions. And, 1 week Willie Brown says if he fixes COVID and he fixes the education problem, he won't get recalled. a week later, $2 billion gets thrown into the mix as a solution that the teachers weren't even looking for. They don't believe it's the solution. So he's also starting to alienate some of the unions. And now when you start eroding your base, it doesn't matter what the White House does. And I think you're already seeing some party distancing, if you will, like a little sort of social distancing or political distancing, and even quite a few of them kicking his tires, actually. And they're murmuring about running. So I think that it doesn't matter what Joe Biden wants. It matters what the California residents and citizens of this state want. And if you're not knowledgeable about, if you don't acknowledge why they're upset and you don't look at it, then you're going to miss the boat, and you're going to miss the boat, period.
Ann Dunsmore, the campaign manager for the recall effort against Governor Newsom out there in California. We appreciate you being with us here on News Now from Fox.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
You too. And here on